Terrestrials in the various forms are a very important addition to the fly fisher's box. And this one, the Foam Beetle, is one that I would never be without. Over the years it's proved a very effective pattern for me on both river and still water. The hook I have in the vise is a Kamasan B160. I think the short shank and wide gape on these hooks is ideal for beetle patterns. So I'm starting the thread about a third of the way back from the eye. Take a few wraps to attach the thread to the hook. Snip away the waste, and now I'm going to carry on down the shank in touch and turns towards the bend. And we're just going to take it round the bend slightly to around about there and come back in open turns to approximately our starting point. The foam back and head is a strip approximately 45mm wide of 2mm foam, and I just taper the end. I've found that the foam has a tendency to slip around the hook, so I'll just put a dab of super glue on the hook to help bind it down. And now I'm just going to attach that foam to the hook, and I'm just going to go down in open turns, down towards the bend and slightly round the bend to where I took the thread earlier. Once it's in position, we're ready for the dubbing for the abdomen. The dubbing I'm using on this pattern is Peacock Ice Dub. So I'm just going to wrap some dubbing on the thread. Relatively tight, but don't worry if there's strands sticking out. A few strands just give the impression of movement. So once that's on there, I'm just winding back up the body and just add more dubbing as necessary. I'm just going to work my way back up to where we started the thread earlier. Once I'm in that position, I'll just hold the dubbing back. I'm just going to put a bed of thread on the remainder of the hook. That's just really so I've got a base to attach the foam and add a touch of super glue again just to hold it in position and stop it twisting. I'm going to take that over the body, over the abdomen, hold it in position, take a wrap and pull that down tight. Another wrap, and once I'm happy, again I'm going to use open turns just to work my way up, right up behind the hook eye. That looks okay, it's not blocking the eye. And now I'm going to take the Peacock Ice Dub again and dub the head area. So now I'm just going to add some Peacock Ice Dub again to the thread and fill that area in between the eye of the hook and the end of the abdomen if you want, where we originally tied the foam over, tied it down. Just a touch more, fill that area in. Now that area is filled in with dubbing, I'm going to take the foam and fold it back over the abdomen, hold it in position and just take a couple of wraps, just pull that down to hold it in position. Now I'll just let the thread hang there while I prepare the rubber legs. I'm just going to cut about a 30mm length of rubber leg, hold it against the body and take a couple of wraps to attach it. And I'll get another length and do the same thing on the other side. Hold it against the body, couple of wraps to attach. Once it's attached, I'm just going to position the legs where I want them. Once I'm happy with that, I'll let the thread hang and think about attaching the post or sighter. It is a sighter really. These flies sit very low in the water and they can be difficult to see. So in this instance, I'm going to attach a length of pink poly yarn. So I've cut a length about 30 millimeters long. I'm just going to lay it on top of the fly and take 2 or 3 wraps to hold it in position. Again, just letting the thread pull down into that gap between the head and the abdomen. Once it's attached, just tidy that up a little bit, and I want to close those 2 legs, if you want, up. So I'm going to take 2 or 3 turns around the base of the sighter. It's okay. Again, I'll just look at the legs, make sure I'm happy with them. Pull up any stray fibres. That looks okay, and now I'm ready to do a whip finish and finish the fly off. So I'm going to take a couple of turns behind the post or sighter, 2 or 3 turns either side really. So now I'll do 2 or 3 in front of it. That's it, and I'm just going to use my scissors in the loop of thread just so that I can control it as I pull that in. That's it, that's the whip finish done. Snip that away, and now it's just a case of tidy everything up and finish off the fly. So I'm just going to take my scissors now and cut away the excess foam. So I'll slide them in down towards the post and snip that off. Now I'll gauge what length sighter I want. Remember, it is a sighter, you want to see it, so you don't want it too long, but you don't want it too short either. About 4 or 5 millimeters ish. That looks okay. And just reposition the legs, make sure I'm happy with them before I cut them to length. When I cut the legs, I don't want them too long, but I don't want them too short either. I think of the legs as a trigger. Well, not only as a trigger, but also I think they act as stabilizers and they help the flies sit better on the water. So I normally hold the rear legs back and cut them either level with the back of the body or the bend of the hook. And then I use the rear legs, or the length of the rear legs, to gauge the length of the front legs. Now I'm happy with that. All I have to do now is get a bit of varnish or sealant and seal the thread, and the fly is finished. So I'll just get a bit of varnish on the dubbing needle, and I'm going to do the thread underneath the fly first. So I'll do both sides underneath. And then I'll bring the fly back up, and I just like to put a little bit into that gap at the base of the post, between the post and the legs if you want. Just a little bit run into there just to seal that area. That's it. That's okay, and that's the fly finished. So that's my Foam Beetle. You can use different coloured sighters for different light conditions. I use green and white and black. And if you're lucky enough to be on the river when you get a fall of beetles, give one a go. And I hope they work as well for you as they have for me.